Good afternoon, YouTubers. T-Square with T-Square Talks. Hope everybody's having a great afternoon. So, got a kind of cool comment that we're going to talk a little bit about today. It's something a lot of people don't really think about if they have been stacking for any longer period of time. In fact, some people will actually probably navigate away from this particular item that we're going to talk about. And ironically, it is on screen. So, the comment for this afternoon is from Kahlua Sunset. It said, I liked your comment about silver being more affordable and tradable than gold in a barter situation. Great comment, and it's something worth thinking about. Now, I know some people out there are going to say we're never going to have to go to a barter situation where people are going to have to trade silver for bread or something like that. But the truth of the matter is nobody really knows. I've actually used that comment where I was talking to a gentleman that was a sales rep for a big company, and I was looking at buying, a good amount of silver from them. And basically, the guy said, well, come on now, let's be realistic. If we ever had to go barter in the streets, I mean, that's highly unlikely. That's never, ever going to happen. And kind of laughed. And I didn't really like that because when you're a sales rep, first of all, you're there to sell. And if someone is already ready to buy and they tell you their concerns on something, you definitely don't want to laugh at it because you don't know, what's going through that person's head. And essentially, you want the sale. So, if that's their concerns, it's your job as a sales rep to assist them. And so needless to say, he didn't get my business. And then I ended up switching over to Chris. I was trying to think of his name over at Universal Coin and Bullion. But it's something worth thinking about. What would happen if we ever had to barter in the streets or just barter, we'll say, from day to day? Now, will grocery stores have food and supplies in a worst case scenario? We're painting a picture today on this video of a worst case scenario where the dollar has pretty well collapsed and this right here ain't going to buy you nothing. I mean, literally, it really almost doesn't buy you anything now. I can't think of many items I can buy with $1 anymore. I can't go and buy a bag of chips. I can't go and buy a soda. Most cans of soda now at a store are going to be $1.29. $1 really doesn't buy you anything. But can you imagine if you had to bring a wheelbarrow full of money? I mean, now some people can't fathom that being a possibility because they don't really read history and they don't follow the trends in other countries that have already experienced this. And then they think, oh, well, these places that are accepting, let's say $1,000 for a bag of potatoes or a thing of eggs. And if you think that's not possible, all they got to do is mass produce the money. And we've seen it happen in places like the most recent Venezuela, Zimbabwe, and a few other places. So with that being said, you have to keep in mind the possibility. If you had to trade with let's say you owned a store for a quick minute. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. If let's say you owned a store and you've got, we'll say 100 dozen eggs in right now, and everybody's bringing you paper currency that is losing value week after week. And someone comes in and they've got something like this right here. It's just a silver $50. Let's be real for a minute. Would you rather have the silver $50 or would you rather have another wheelbarrow full of essentially fiat currency? The possibility that you could have to trade it is a possibility. It's a strong possibility because I can tell you right now, I know people that own businesses personally that would much rather have a silver $50 for my lunch as opposed to $12. And once people realize that, then essentially you understand silver. Now, some people don't understand that right now out there. And it's sad because, like I said, I had someone ask me the other day, probably about 2 weeks ago, well, what's going to happen to all the old people, though? They don't have silver. They just kind of have their retirement or essentially fiat dollars. Maybe they have money under their mattress in the form of dollars. Unfortunately, it's sad when stuff like this happens in other countries, because I actually seen a video where a lady it was a small YouTuber, and he was filming in Libya, I think it was, basically a lady trading a wedding band and some earrings just so she could get food for a month. That's sad when you think about it. It really is. But, you know, that's where the taking steps now come into play for down the road. Now, here's the thing. Let's be honest. You take this little bag of silver right here, and this is not the actual price on there, $150, because $150 doesn't really buy you much silver. I just throw stuff in this bag just because it's sitting off to the side of the desk. But the truth of the matter is, taking precautions now, even if something doesn't happen, you can expect that silver and gold will probably continue to go up. Why? Because they're going to continue to print money or fiat paper. Now, I use the word money sometimes as fiat. I use the word money as silver. My personal belief, silver and gold is money. Paper is just fiat. It really has no intrinsic value. And once you understand that, then, you know, you start really understanding what's going on. If you are stacking junk silver, obviously the smaller stuff you can get, such as dimes, I've said this time and time again, they're super cheap to get into. You're not out a lot of money. If you end up having one of these, you can pick one of these up now for about $2.25. It wasn't long ago when you could pick them up for $2, when you could pick them up for $1.50, and they just continue to go up. I actually was talking to a friend of mine who, when he first learned about silver, he said he was always taught you can never go wrong at 10x. Think about that for a minute. 10x, that means that's $1 a dime. Well, now that same mentality has drastically changed, because now you're looking at 22 times face value minimum on just melt value on this stuff, and it continues to go up. And it really doesn't matter the condition of the coin. A lot of people like stuff that's in good condition, maybe like this one where I just showed it and they were like, wow, that's a nice, you know, sharp looking $50. However, it doesn't really matter what the condition is, because if you're buying it as junk silver, it's just that, junk silver. Yeah, that is a pretty one. Let's see if we can kind of focus in a little bit. I can't even get over how nice that is. What year is that? I'm kind of wondering now. 42. Okay. So needless to say, when you start thinking like that of possibilities, it does get you worrying about a lot of stuff. And some people, I've had comments on here that says you shouldn't worry about that kind of stuff, because then you worry once and you suffer from the worrying, and then you worry twice and essentially you have to worry about it twice. Because when it actually happens, that's your second one. So it's something worth thinking about, though, and, you know, that's why I keep stacking. Fractional stuff is great, I think, and a lot of people right now are undervaluing fractional stuff. Why? Because it's 90%, it's 40%, it's 35%. There's so many different things out there. A lot of people don't like it, and I'll be honest, I'm guilty of this. I've never been a fan of 90%. I've never been a fan of anything except for the fact that it does come in as a barter item. So I've always had stuff. I know a lot of people are going to be like, I thought you liked the 40%ers. I do, as a barter item. However, bulk of wealth can be stored easy in 999, gold, silver. But on the flip side, you're going to have a really hard time trading an ounce of gold for anything when stuff hits the fan, if we go down that road. And for the people out there that are going to say, if stuff hits the fan, you're better off to have food, water, security, you know, yeah, that's all true. However, eventually society will rebuild. When stuff collapses, something better almost always comes out of it. And the better is what you want to prepare for. It'd be nice if unfortunately, if things did happen, it would be nice that you're able to restart and already have a step up in a new system. So with that being said, just think about it real quick before I go. One last little comment to think about. If you and 5 friends or you and a bunch of friends are playing a game, we'll say Monopoly, and you're winning. You got more property than everybody, you got more money than everybody, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, let's all just start the game over. You don't want to lose your position. You're in the lead. Of course you wouldn't want to start over. So that's kind of, when you think about it, the way you need to look at it now. You don't want to start over when the game resets unless you're in a really bad position. But it's good, even if you're in a bad position and you have a little bit of silver, that you can start the game over and carry your money over. And that's kind of where silver and gold comes in to play. It can carry into the new system. So with that being said, thank you for the great comment. I am trying to do a quick little video in the afternoons based on just addressing one comment from somebody every day. So that was today's comment. It was a great comment. I think it's worth thinking about 90% junk silver. And obviously, yeah, I saw someone else write that they like 90% because they don't make it anymore. You know, you think about that, they're not making any more of it. So take care, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you hit the thumbs up because it really does help me out. And I will see you guys again on T-Square Talk. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.